This is the first video in our Jefferson Flats project series here, and this first video is just going to be an introduction to this drawing file and the project site itself. First off, I want to open my layer properties manager here, and I'll bring this window over. And first off, I have created a whole bunch of new layers here that should appear at the top of the list if you're sorting alphabetically. So I put an underscore in front of all those to make them jump to the top of the list. And then I want to show you that most of those layers, or all of those layers maybe in your drawing, are locked, which means you can't change anything in the drawing or anything on those layers until you unlock them. So just to point that out. But I did create also a couple of surfaces in this drawing. So the first surface that I want to point out is this LiDAR Topo Surface, and that exists on its own layer right here. Again, it's a locked layer, so if you wanted to change anything, including the display style, you would have to unlock that layer first. I also have inside our project area, this is the Development Topo Surface. That's the name of the surface, and it's also the name of the layer that that surface is on. So I can turn that on and off. But if I wanted to, again, change the display style of that layer, I would have to unlock it first. And then I can change the contour interval or the display style, whatever I want to see. And then I'm going to go ahead and lock that layer again so I can't accidentally change it. So what else do we have on our project site here? Well, we've got a 2-building apartment complex complete with parking stalls, and all of these parking stripes across the site, so not just the apartments but also this office complex and the Hy-Vee shopping center, all of those parking stripes are on their own layer. So you can toggle them on and off if you want to see fewer lines on the screen. And maybe I should just go through some of these layers one by one. So building text, that should be all of this annotation that you see for the different buildings. C and G, that's curb and gutter. That's going to overlap a lot of the other stuff on the screen. So maybe if I zoom in a little bit, I can toggle that on and off, and you can see this gray line disappears. So that's the curb and gutter lines. I've also got a different layer for the alignment text. So all of these center lines are alignment objects, and they have their own text that goes along with them. And then the alignments themselves are also on their own layer. This data clip layer is the project boundary where I have clipped that surface. Development topo, again, that is our surface inside the project area. Existing break lines, that's all these gray lines that I used. So this is several iterations into this drawing. And in a previous drawing, I built a corridor and then extracted feature lines from that corridor to create these break lines. So those are the gray lines you see. I left those on because it kind of gives you an idea of where the lanes and the curb and gutter and some sidewalk, but feel free to toggle that on and off if you'd like to. I also have a green space layer, so that includes hatch and polyline objects. So if you want to see green space, here we go. So that'll help clear up the drawing quite a bit if you leave that green space layer frozen. The LiDAR, that is the LiDAR surface. The map image, that is this little bit of the captured aerial map that I took off the geolocation tab. So again, you can toggle that on and off if you want to see some less in your drawing. And then the buildings themselves, the office exists on its own layer. So that's this complex here, the polylines representing the office footprints. Parking stripes, again, pretty self-explanatory. Project boundary is just a polyline following the border of our project area. I'm not sure if you have the proposed catch basins layer in your drawing, or I might have created that after I uploaded it. I did leave that one unlocked, at least in my drawing. Again, I'm not sure if you have that one, but feel free to create any new layers that you have to throughout this project. This residential multifam, that is the apartment complexes. So you can, again, toggle that on and off. And then residential SFD, single family dwelling, are the lot lines and buildable footprint areas in these 21 single family lots here. There's also a right-of-way layer, so this red line is the right-of-way throughout the project, and then sidewalk paving is a hatch layer where I've hatched in proposed areas for sidewalk. So that's a pretty good, I think, introduction to the drawing. I do want to point out there are a couple of alignments here following, so this is Main Street in Blaine, and there's a couple of alignments here with pipe networks already in the drawing. This pink pipe network is what we're going to use for the existing sanitary main that we will tie into later on down the road. And also we have a potable water main that we will tie into further into the project. And each of those have profiles here. So the sanitary main and the potable water main have profiles. But the first phase of your project is going to be to analyze this development topo surface and figure out where the water wants to drain to. What are we going to do with that storm water as it hits our site? So basically, we're going to be using the water drop tool and maybe the catchment area tool to figure out where do we want to put our catch basins. So I will pick that up in the next video.